Um, when we look at growth and lifespan, we look at how our body develops. We look at how all the biological processes work, but we can't separate the head and the brain from the way the rest of the body functions. So we're going to take a look here just for a little bit about how we reason, how we work with memory, how we have response. In this class we've talked about a little bit already. We have different types of neurons. We have sensory neurons sending all the information to the brain. The brain then is able to assess these memories and then be able to send the motor neurons to tell the muscles what to do, and is connect with inner neurons that go back and connect those neurons, telling the muscles to move or what to do. So we get into a big part of psychology, and where this is called growth and lifespan, where it talks a lot about not just how we function physiologically, how the body functions, but now how we function psychologically. And so what we have is we have this incredible part of our mind that's storing all this information. And then whenever we get the sensory information, like we talked about from the sensory nerves, from the sensory neurons, then our brain says, okay, let's take those senses, let's see what association we have, and what we can do to put all those together to get not just a meaning, but also get a solution to whatever kind of problem we're solving. So let's talk about some of the different memories that we have. One of them is called iconic memory. I-C-O-N-I-C. Iconic memory is simply sensory memory. So this is a short-term memory. We're going to talk about two types of short-term memory. Short-term memory is abbreviated STM. And so iconic memory is short-term memory, but it deals only with senses. So for example, the clock's going off there, so we hear that, and so we hear that, so we have that in memory. So it lasts a few seconds, but we have to decide if we're going to store it or not. Have I ever heard that sound before? If I hear train, okay, and then find out that's a train. If I hear all the different senses that we have, hot, cold, warm, okay, have we ever had that sense before? If so, we have that iconic memory that lasts only a few seconds, but then we associate it with something in our brain. For example, if we touch something and it's really hot, the iconic memory is hot, and then all of a sudden we associate it with hot, so we begin to think of all the things that it could be. Okay? All right, like a skillet on the stove is hot, or bath water could be too hot. So iconic memory is sensory memory. It'll only last for a few seconds, but it sends an information until we do what? Until we get an association. All right? So then we have another short-term memory called working memory. And the working memory is if we read something and we memorize it, or somebody gives us a phone number, 396-4273. So we're like, okay, 396-4273. So that's working memory, short-term memory. Now the question is that something we're going to put in our long-term memory? That happens to be my phone number when I was a kid. That's actually my long-term memory, okay? Isn't that something? I probably haven't used that phone number since I was probably in high school. Isn't that something? And I've got that because I put that in my long-term memory. But if I'm driving down the street and somebody calls me and says, call me back at, you know, whatever, 482-6584, I'm like 482-6542, whatever the number is. I have a working memory, I have a very short-term memory, and then I decide, do I need to put that in long memory? Now, one of the great things about working memory is working memory we get all during the day. We don't even realize how much we take in as working memory. All the different things that happened. Thank goodness we don't have to put everything in long-term memory, or we would be like, okay, everything we saw during the day, you know, the grass blew, somebody said this, somebody said that. So working memory is kind of cool because when we sleep, that's when we actually sort out the working memories and we actually convert things over into long-term memories. So two kinds of short-term memory: iconic memory, which is sensory memory, and working memory, which is just things that happen throughout the day. So two kinds of short-term memory. Now, let's get into a little bit more of the psychological part, and that's the long-term memory. Because what the short-term memory does is it triggers association with the long-term memory. So in long-term memory, we have several different things we're going to look at. The first thing we want to look at is retrieval cues. R-E-T-R-I-E-V-A-L and cues, C-U-E-S. So when we have retrieval cues, that's something that triggers an association. Okay? So this could be good or bad. Okay, it can be good or bad. I mean, it's good in that it connects us with some type of association, but it could bring back a bad memory. Okay, could bring back a good memory. Could be a neutral memory. It could be something that makes us happy, glad, sad, mad, scared, apprehensive, or whatever, depending on what the retrieval cue is. One person may have a retrieval cue that's different than another person. For example, we've talked about this a little bit before. Clowns have kind of changed. You know, clowns used to be happy, fun. Then they started making clowns of bad people, and all a lot of movies make clowns of bad people, or even in the horror movies, the clowns might become something really awful. Okay, so when you see a clown, what's your retrieval cue? Does it flash back? Does it go back to that iconic memory, that sensory memory of does a clown make you feel happy, sad, mad, glad, scared, whatever? So retrieval cues are really critical for memory. Okay, so let's talk about some of the more long-term memories. Okay, the retrieval cues are in there. So when we hear a word or see something, we have to go back to a past experience. Okay, so then those past experiences come from a couple different areas. First of all, we have one called episodic. Okay, E-P-I-S-O-D-I-C. It's like, comes from the word episode. So whenever we say it like in TV, this is an episode of this, it's an actual showing of something. An episode is something that actually happens. So an episode is actual specific memories. So for example, if somebody says something about a birthday, you may actually go back and actually have an episode where it's not like you remember every detail, but you kind of remember a birthday party, or somebody mentions a dog and all of a sudden you remember an exact dog that you had, or somebody mentions a particular subject in school and you remember sitting in that desk and that being a good or bad thing, or whatever. You can go on and on. Episodic is actual memories that flash really quick and go. Okay, it's kind of like it's kind of like this. It's like if I mention a particular thing, it could be a good or bad thing for you. If I mention PE, it may be like, oh, that was the funniest class in the world, or oh, that was terrible, I always sweated before I had to go to class. I mean, depending on how you perceived it at the time, that's your episodic memory. I'm going to chase a rabbit here for just a second, I don't want to see, when I said chase a rabbit, the first thing you thought of, if you've ever you thought of actually literally chasing a rabbit. Okay, but for example, one of the things we run in contact with, like for example, in the Christian faith, when we talk about a heavenly Father, well, some people have a hard time because it might be that their earthly father, it might have been that was a really good picture for him, or it might have been it was a picture of a father that wasn't there very much, okay, or a father that got mad at him a lot, or whatever, or it might be a father who didn't discipline them or whatever. So whenever we have retrieval cues, like the example I'm using here is father, that can mean anything, couldn't it? That can mean anything to anybody, good, bad, or indifferent. And so episodic, a lot of times some people are more in tune to remember the good things, and some people are more in tune to remember the bad things. But the longer you dwell on it, let's get off of the retrieval cue father. Let's go to the retrieval cue of let's just say cars and trucks. Okay, that could be anything. But the longer you think about it, the more episodes that your mind connects you to. It's kind of like that. It's kind of like they talk about layers of an onion. If you've ever taken apart an onion, be ready, it'll make you cry. But if you ever take, there's a layer of skin, then there's a layer of onion, layer of onion, layer of onion. So whenever we have episodic memories, then we get layers upon layers upon layers upon layers, because there's a lot of things. For example, if I mention driving, okay, you might remember when you were learning how to drive, or you haven't learned how to drive, or somebody else is driving. So, but the longer you think of whatever your retrieval cue is, the more you think of the next layer, next layer, next layer, next layer. So, episodic are long-term memories, are actual specific memories. Then we have semantic memories. S-E-M-A-N-T-I-C. Semantic memories. This is kind of interesting because episodal are actual memories that have had that actually events in your life, or that you've seen, or whatever. Semantic memories are memories that you've actually been taught. Okay, you've been taught these. For example, if I say A, apple, okay, B, ball, whatever, those are semantic associations. I've been taught those. Or I've been taught that I should do this and this and this and this and this. Okay, or I've been taught. So let's just say in school, I've been taught mathematics, so I don't memorize all the math, but I've been taught that. So when I go back to, you know, what is 4 times 4? Well, 4 times 4 is 16. That's just a memory that I've been taught that's put into my memory. So I don't actually ever, you know, sometimes if somebody has to have, if they're a very visual learner and they have to have that, then they'll draw four sets of 4 things and you'll see 16. But semantic memory is already in there. It's things we've been taught, things that are in there. You know, what does a giraffe look like? Well, maybe you've seen a giraffe in real life. Chances are it's probably a semantic memory where you've seen a picture of a giraffe, okay, unless you live in Africa or you go to the zoo or something like that. You've seen a picture of a giraffe, so you've stored that picture of the giraffe. So we have a ton of semantic memories. Semantic memories, as opposed to episodic memories, are kind of nice in one way, okay? Are kind of nice in one way, in that they don't bring back feelings or emotions, they just bring back information. See, when we have episodic memories and we have the episode, then we also have that feeling that goes with that memory, okay? We have that opinion that we were forming. We have that long-term thought. But in semantic memories, we just have the information, okay? So in school, we fill ourselves with episodic memories of what it was like while we were there, but then we have semantic memories that we learn, okay? We learn how to build something. We learn how to do something. We learn what it's for, okay? Like we might have a semantic memory of a hammer. Here's a picture of a hammer. What's it used for? Its claw. And then immediately we go to an episodic memory where we remember using a hammer and hitting our finger, and we're like, ah, now I remember a hammer. So in long-term memory, okay, we have retrieval cues that bring us back. We have episodic memories that are actual memories in there. We also call those flashbulb memories, because flashbulb memories are just split-second memories that we have of something that actually happened, okay? So in a flashbulb memory, we see it, we have it right there. I used to always tell parents, you always remember when your kids graduate from kindergarten. It's a flashbulb moment. It's just stored, and you can see your little kid standing there at that age, and it's a given. It's a flashbulb memory. So that's an episodic memory, an actual thing. But the semantic memories are all the other memories that we put in. Once again, they don't generally come with a lot of emotions, a lot of feelings. It's just basically information. So in review of this first video, we had a short-term memory, we had iconic memory, which is all the sensory memory, and we had the working memory that we take on all during the day. The long-term memory is triggered by retrieval cues, and it's episodic and semantic. So we're going to talk a little bit about memory in the next video.